Hey there, in today's video, let's check out how Git works. So to start off with, I have a empty folder over here, and you can see I have opened my terminal to point to this folder itself, right? So what I'll do here is first I'll go ahead and create a file, any random file, right? So the contents of the file can be hello world, and I'll write that file name as file.a.txt, right? So this, now if we go back, you see the file A has been created over here, right? And now I'll do git init to initialize this git repository. So the git repository has been initialized. Now what comes next is I need to put this into the staging area, right? Okay, so what I have is the working directory right now. I have added a file, I have initialized git over here. Now if I run the git add command, it would put it into the staging directory, right? So it will be staged, the file, and then we can either throw that file out, or we can commit it as a permanent snapshot into our repository, right? So from here, if we choose to do git commit, then in that case it will go into this repository and it will be saved as a permanent checkpoint, where in any point of time, if we want, we can come back and we can run this git check out method, right? And then we can just start editing the files at that point in time itself, correct? So here I'll go back and I'll do git add, which we normally do, right? So if I do git add file a.txt, so before doing this, let's go ahead and check our folder. So let's focus more on this objects folder, the refs folder, and this head, right? So right now the objects folder has two empty folders inside it, info and pack, right? And the refs folder also has a heads folder which is empty, and the tags is also empty, right? Because our git project is right now empty and it does not have any commits or snapshots, right? So let's go back, and here I will add this file. Now as soon as I add this file, right, I will see that if I go back to this objects folder, there's something called as a 4a folder which is created, right? So right now it's gone. So now if I see the git status, my file is stage, right? Along with it, a 4a folder is created, along with inside which there is some gibberish, right? We don't really know what is happening over here, correct? So to understand this, what git add has internally done is basically it ran this git command, which is hash object, right? And then it entered the file name which we had sent. So git hash object space file name, if I do, I get a hash, right? sh1 hash out of it. So this is what git has internally done. And if you see, the first two letters of this hash is 4a, right? If we go back, we saw that the folder name was also 4a inside this objects folder, new folder which got created, right? So it starts with 4a, our hash also starts with 4a, right? And the rest of it is starting with 1f47 and ending with 31d, correct? So if we go inside 4a, it's 1f47 and the ending is 31d, right? So if we open this file, say for now we open, so this is gibberish, we don't understand anything, because this is the hashed content of the file which we had passed, that is the hash of the file a.txt, right? So now if we go back, and then if you want to see how git actually understands it, that what the contents are, and if we ever want to see it how it shows to us, then we would simply have to run this command called git cat file -p, and then we would paste in this hash which git had given us, right? So in that case, if I run this, see hello world. Hello world was the original content which we had passed over here, right? So using the content of this file, it had got this hash and it has saved it into the objects folder right now, as soon as we ran the git add commit, right? Add command, right? So we could have, instead of running the git add command, we could have just run this git hash object file a.txt, and then what we could have done is basically we could have run this command called git update indices index, and then -add, and then - cache info, and then we pass in 100644. So 100644 is the type of the file, which is here 100644 indicates a normal file, and then we would pass in the hash which we had got from the get hash object commit, right? And then we would pass in file.txt, right? So this command get hash object file.txt and get update index add cache info and then the file hash of the file and then the file name, these two are internally run when you execute this get add command, right? So these two are run and then we get that the file is staged, right? So if we do get status, then we check that the file is staged. So now we had two options. Either we could do get reset head minus minus hard, right? Yeah, head minus minus hard, right? We could have done this, or this would throw out all of the changes that we have done so far and make our project align with the last commit that was done, right? This could have been one option. The other option is to go ahead and get committed, right? So get commit minus m, we can pass a message over here and say this message is the first commit, right? First commit, we passes the message, and if we do this, then we see that one file has been inserted, our checkpoint has been saved. So what changed inside this, right? So now if we go back, we see a couple of more folders and files, right? So this created a walking tree inside of it. So once first, as soon as you execute the commit command, it creates a walking tree, and then it takes the hash of the commit, the staged hash, right? And then it pastes inside that walking tree and it creates a new reference, right? So if we go back here to get the git, if we execute git log, then in that case we get the git commit hash as 413, right? And here again, if you see 41 are the starting two letters of the hash, inside it is 3a ending with 8e, so 3a ending with 8e, right? So this has been saved. Two commands were run. One is to create the working tree node, and the other one is to take the hash and paste it inside of that, use it to make a commit, right? So that happened, and now if we go back, we had this refs folder inside the .git folder, right? So this refs folder and the head is the master. We are in the master branch right now, and the master, if we open, we would find the commit hash of that commit, right? So the topmost commit which we had in that particular branch, which is the 4135d, this commit, right? So this is how it would internally work as soon as we do the commit. And then this head file, right, if we open, we also see the reference to it is pointing to the current master branch, right? So whenever we come to the git project, we know that we have to look into the master branch right now, because that is the branch which is at currently, right? So the index file would contain some gibberish again, but this would contain the file which we have, and then the tree, and then passing some random gibberish, right? So right now we used the normal get add and the get commit commands, right? So now let's go ahead and use these commands, and also internally the walking tree and the update indices command, right? So if we do a CLS over here, let's close this and let's go back here. So let's delete everything that is there. So now we are again at a clean slate. So now what I would do is I would get init like before. So once I've done the init.get appears with empty objects folder, right? So refs folder is also empty at the same point in time, correct? And this head is currently pointing to the master branch, okay? So now I'm in the master branch. I would echo a new file. So this is do everything manually, right? And then I would write the file name as manual.txt, correct? Yeah, so as soon as I go back to this folder, I see a manual file has been created, right? So now I need to add it to the staging area. If I do get status, then it is not staged right now, so I need to add it to the staging area, correct? So in that case, I would first need the commit hash, for which I would run the command called get hash object. I would pass the -w parameter over here, which would calculate the hash object and write the respective files inside that inside the objects folder that we saw, where starting two letters were used as the folder name and the file name was the remaining of the hash object, right? So and then we would pass in our file, which is manual.txt. Now we get the hash object over here, which is c7 starting, right? So if we go over here, objects c7 and then ed, right? So this is how just git manages it, right? So ed and then internally it's some random gibberish, right? Like we saw, right? So here what will now happen is we have found the hash object of it, and now we need to use that hash in order to write it to the index file, correct? So what we will do is git update index, and we will pass in minus hat because we are adding it. Cache info will pass as 100644, so that will mean it's a normal file, right? And then we have to pass this hash, so we'll copy this, we'll paste it over here, and then we'll pass the file name as well, right? Manual.txt. So this has been done, and now if we do a git status, see our file is now green and it's in the staging place, right, where we can go ahead and either chuck it out or either commit it as a permanent snapshot, right? So this has been added to the staging environment. Now moving on, we have to go from the staging directory to the repository. So for this we normally use the git commit command, but now we will go ahead and use the internal commands, right? So here what we need to do is basically create a walking tree. Git write, so write tree. So then in that case we get another hash, correct? So if we go ahead again, check out our objects folder, another has been created, right? Another folder has been created. 78 is the starting, 78 b is the rest of it, right? So our working tree has been created. Now we just need to use the hash which we have over here to update our tree, correct? So in that case we will pass in a commit message as well. So we could just do echo this is the commit message, and then we do git commit tree, and then we pass in the hash of the tree which we just found, right? So this, if we do, we get another hash which is basically the commit hash, and if we go back here, you'll see again in a similar structure now the file and a folder has been created. So we have the commit hash over here, right? So our file is still in the staging area, but we already have the commit hash because we have not updated the branch we are in to point to that committed hash, right? So in that case, in order to do that, we need to go back here and we'll check where our in the refs folder our heads, it's still empty, right? But it should ideally contain a file called master, and there inside master there should be the commit hash present, right? So we just need to do it, right? So we need to take this hash out of here, commit hash, and put it in that file, right? So what we will just do is echo, we'll write the commit hash which we have over here, we'll just copy it and then we'll paste it over here. And where do we need to write it? Inside the .git folder, inside the refs folder, and then there we should have a file called master, right? So there we should write it. So we did this, and now if we do a git status, our file should be committed, right? Okay, I made a mistake. So what I have to do is I just have to write refs and then head slash master, correct? So here if I do heads slash master, correct? So here if I do, the command has been executed. Now what I just have to do is git status, I would find the file is committed, right? So on master branch, nothing to commit. Get log if I do to get the latest commit hash. So here this is C270 and I had the same hash over here, correct? So 270b9 matches with 270 ending with b9, correct? So this is how the git add and the git commit methods would work internally. So I hope you learned something new over here, and yeah, let's see you in the next one. Thank you.